Can Miller Moss top Caleb Williams at USC? And have you seen the beer prices around the Big Ten? Locked on Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, coming up on 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer. And I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. All right, USC fights on with a brand new promising quarterback. Plus, we have a kickoff time at Autzen for Ohio State and Oregon. And our power rankings this week, we're going to do beer prices, top to bottom, around the Big Ten. You might not believe what you see. But it was really no surprise here this week when Lincoln Riley named Miller Moss the USC Trojans starting quarterback ahead of their season opener against LSU next week. Moss has some big shoes to fill after serving as Caleb Williams' backup. After all, Caleb Williams, all he did was win a Heisman Trophy, threw for over 8,000 yards and 72 touchdown passes over the last two seasons, and, of course, in April became the top pick of the NFL draft when the Chicago Bears took him. For his part, Moss was just a backup for the last 3 years at USC, and when he did play, it was okay. Nothing spectacular to write home about. So at the end of the 2023 season, Moss and his family decided that they were going to transfer elsewhere and get a new start. So since Caleb Williams wasn't going to risk injury ahead of the draft by playing in a Holiday Bowl, Moss would step in, play the game, and then go look for another school. That was the plan. But a funny thing happened along the way. Moss set a Holiday Bowl record by throwing 6 touchdown passes in a win against Louisville. Pretty impressive. Yeah, wow factor. Lincoln Riley had the successor to Caleb Williams right there all along. And Riley told Moss, hey, you're the guy. You're going to be my guy. In fact, I know football's kind of crazy, but I promise you, I'm not going to go continue to recruit a veteran transfer to come in here and compete with you. It's your job. You got it. That's kind of rare in this day and age. That's when Riley reportedly told Will Howard, hey, don't come, because Will Howard was coming. He was going to transfer to USC, but that's how he ended up at Ohio State instead. Now, you might be asking, all those important decisions came after just one game? One game? I mean, anybody can have a great game, one game, right? Even though it was a spectacular game, it was just one game. Now, according to Riley, though, it wasn't the one game. It was the 6 weeks of bowl practice between the Trojans' last regular season game and their bowl game. We really got to see Moss in a different light, taking snaps with the first team offense, showing a little bit of leadership. All that going on over a 6-week period, day in and day out. Got to see him take command of the situation. Riley liked what he saw. Moss liked what he saw too, because when Riley made a commitment to him, he halted his plans to transfer on out of there. So, moving forward, all reasonable football, and I know some football fans are not reasonable, but all reasonable football fans know that Moss, he's not going to throw 6 touchdown passes a game every week. In fact, it's likely he'll never throw 6 touchdown passes in a game again. I mean, 6 touchdowns, that's a big number. I mean, 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, maybe even a 5 touchdown. 6 is pretty rare. But we may get a glimpse of how good he could be pretty early on, as in the season opener against LSU. Take the over on that game, by the way, because both teams struggle with defense, and that could be a shootout with a lot of offense. And maybe Miller Moss will throw a lot of touchdown passes. You know, what's he inclined to do? In high school at Bishop Alamé High School in Mission Hills, made the 2020 Prep Star Dream Team. His junior year, he threw 28 touchdown passes. As a sophomore, he threw 19. Had a few interceptions mixed in there as well, but he graduated from high school early so they can get an early start on the spring semester over at USC a couple of years ago, get a jump on the old college career. And by the way, once he got to USC, and started. He graduated and got his degree in 2 years. That's phenomenal. So, yeah, been working on the master's ever since. He seems like a really smart kid, which you want to have at quarterback. So, after being a backup behind maybe the most high-profile quarterback in the country, it's his turn to shine. So we'll see what he could do with the opportunity, and we'll see quickly. Given his arm strength, his intelligence, the fact that he's coached by one of the great offensive minds in football, Lincoln Riley, the table's set for Moss. This is it. It is a great opportunity for him to have a great year. Of course, if past performance is any indication, Moss will have to throw a lot of touchdown passes because the Trojans typically give up more than 30 points a game. It's a trademark of a Lincoln Riley team, as a matter of fact. It remains to be seen how quickly their new defensive coordinator, D'Anton Lynn, who came over from UCLA, how quickly he could tighten things up. He's done it before. In his first year at crosstown UCLA, he took a team that was ranked 111th in defense and made them a top 8 team, like the 8th best defense in the country. Plus, when Lynn arrived, he brought a couple of UCLA transfers with him from the secondary, including Kamari Ramsey. And he'll be a starter at USC. So other than the defense being an obstacle, let's look at USC's schedule. It's no picnic, especially with this expanded Big Ten. It's crazy. They were trying to get out of that LSU game they're going to open up with because they're like, look at the rest of the schedule. And then we close it out with Notre Dame. But LSU wasn't having any of it. They just kind of laughed at him and said, no, we're playing this game. So after the season opener against LSU, national TV, only game in town, everybody will be watching. It'll be great. They got a date at Michigan. They host Wisconsin and Penn State. They'll have to travel across the country 1 week all the way to take on a stingy and underrated Rutgers team. Don't laugh. Rutgers is going to be good. And especially going a long ways for a big road game. You never know what will happen there. They got Washington and Nebraska is going to be tough. That's on the schedule. And as I mentioned, the season finale against Notre Dame. That's a schedule. That is a tough schedule. So we'll see how it plays out. There are a lot of challenges for USC, whether it be their defense or their schedule. We'll see how the offense is. No more Caleb Williams. There's a lot going on there with Lincoln Riley. So overall, here's what I'm looking at for USC. And I've talked about this before here on Locked On Big Ten. I'm expecting Oregon and Ohio State to be in the Big Ten championship game. And I'm expecting Penn State and or Michigan to be a third team to get into the college football playoffs. And then knocking on the door on that next level, going to be the USC Trojans. This schedule's tough, but you win maybe one here or two there that you didn't know if you were going to win. Maybe it's USC with an opportunity to get in the playoffs. They're very capable. They could be a playoff team. And then you start throwing some of the other teams in the Big Ten, like Nebraska. Where's Iowa finish up? I told you Rutgers is going to be interesting with their schedule and being a good team. So those are going to be the next tier right behind USC. And that's how I see the season playing out. We'd love to hear from you guys as well, especially if you're a USC Trojan fan who has just discovered us because we're new. Fight on. Thank you very much. Glad you could be with us here. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't. You may have noticed we made a big deal about it. We just got over 10,000 subscribers on this channel on YouTube. So I invite all of you to subscribe. It's free. It doesn't require any information. And you just click the button and then we're together every day with all things Big Ten. So subscribe and follow Locked On Big Ten for free wherever you get your podcasts. That way you get the latest episode of this podcast as soon as it comes available each and every day. And we're also now making a special strong kick. If you don't mind, if you could share, hit that little share arrow to somebody that you think would be interested in anything Big Ten. We got 18 teams, 18 fan bases. I know you know somebody that likes the Big Ten that might not know we're out here every day on Locked On Big Ten. So do that. And then don't forget to pick up some school merchandise, shirts, hats, pennants, coffee mugs, right there on our website. It's called talkbig10.com. We put all of our podcasts there in order, or we group them by school. For example, we'll file this away under USC, make it real easy for you to find and go back and listen and watch other podcasts as well. But while you're there, you can get some merchandise for your favorite team as well. Get ready for the upcoming season. That's all at talkbig10. That's the number 10 at talkbig10.com. So you can check that out as well. All right. We finally have a game time, a kickoff time for that big one. Ohio State at Oregon on October 12th. We'll take a look at that. We've got some broadcast information on the Michigan-Fresno State game. And we're going to compare beer prices around the Big Ten. Michigan can sell beer now. They haven't been able to. They're going to now. The Michigan and Wisconsin can sell beer now. We're going to compare prices. It's a wide range. So it's going to be our power rankings. That's all coming up. Some of these are outrageous. All that coming up in 1 minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. I want to tell you about the Game Time app where you can get tickets to anything, whether it be sports, Big Ten football, comedy shows, theater. Get the Game Time app right on your favorite device, or if you're right on your phone. It's very easy. And they got all-in pricing, so no tricks, no gimmicks. You know exactly what it's going to cost. They got a feature called Game Time Picks. It makes it getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. It filters out all the fluff and shows you only the incredible deals that they have on the seats. My favorite feature on the seats is you can see a view of the seat, the ticket you're about to buy right there on your phone. Again, Game Time Picks. All right. Curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, all in pricing. You're good to go. They also have a special coming up. If you want to, they got a 50% off tickets to Dodgers Diamondbacks Labor Day. That's exclusively on Game Time. So check that out as well. Download the Game Time app and create an account. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and the redeem code LOCKEDONCollege, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed at Game Time. FanDuel makes all these games we look at a lot more exciting. Like get a little action on it, get the little adrenaline going. It's good. You've heard us talk about FanDuel all the time. It is America's #1 sports book. Got a little something different for you here. Listen closely. So now through September 22nd with FanDuel, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and then get a 3-week free trial to NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every single regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to download America's #1 sportsbook. And as long as we're talking about FanDuel here, got Florida State, Georgia Tech. That's an 11.5-point spread now for Florida State. I still like Florida State on that one. Over under at 55.5. I think it'll be right at that number. Rutgers, by the way, here's a tip for you. Take the over 6.5 wins this year. I just talked them up a minute ago. They're going to win more than 6. So take care of all that. Again, on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. I want to thank you for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day, especially you everydayers out there. Meanwhile, be sure to subscribe on YouTube and share and follow and like Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. Don't forget to check out our website where all of our podcasts are, plus your favorite Big Ten merchandise. Talk Big Ten. That's number 10, talkbig10.com. And when you're done catching up with all of your Locked On Big Ten stuff, don't forget a second listen with Locked On College Football. They have a podcast, talking about everything college football, everything on the field, off the field. You know, there's a lot going on, recruiting, all this stuff right there. Locked On College Football, available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We have a Game Time. We got kickoff. I was just looking at all the schedule throughout the whole season, kind of mapping out my autumn, if you will. And, we got kickoff times for the first 3 games and all that. Now we got the Ohio State game at Oregon. And sorry, Michigan, Ohio State fans, which I'm one of them. That's always the biggest game of the year. This year, no. It is Ohio State at Oregon, Autzen Stadium, October 12th. Kickoff time now, 4:30 local. If you're going to go, 4:30 local Pacific time, 7:30 Eastern, and will be on NBC. And while the game will have national playoff implications, could very well be a sneak preview to the Big Ten championship game. The October game has long been sold out. Airlines have added numerous flights from Ohio to Oregon and back because of this game. The cheapest secondary market ticket I've seen out there, $425, but I'll bet you can find a great deal on the Game Time app. Go check that out. I'm just giving you average prices that are out there, out and about. Many tickets are going for $1,200. Again, go to Game Time, get yourself a better deal. And if you wait, the secondary market will go up. But again, Game Time can get you a deal. So many side stories for all of this. It's the first big chance for the Ducks to show, hey, rest of the Big Ten, we're here. We're taking on Ohio State. And we're ready to play. And, of course, Buckeyes, their new offensive coordinator, Chip Kelly, former Ducks head coach from yesteryear, 2007 to 2012. Remember, he took the Ducks to a BCS bowl game every year he was there, got them into a national championship game in 2011, led them to 3 consecutive Pac-12 championship titles. So he was good, kind of launched the rest of his career from there. Sidebar, if you are planning on attending the game, that's one thing. You are instructed to wear black. Going to be kind of like a black. And I know there's going to be a lot of red in that crowd because Ohio State's coming with a lot of people. Scarlet. So in the meantime, the Ducks open their season ahead of that August 31st versus Idaho. You can watch that on the Big Ten Network. One more story about Dan Lanning. Dan Lanning, of course, one of the fastest, hottest rising stars in the coaching ranks. Once upon a time, he was a graduate student at Arizona State under Todd Graham. When Lanning wanted to leave to take a defensive back coaching job at Sam Houston State, Graham let him go without offering him a job to stay. Graham has admitted recently, and if I remember right, Graham was eventually fired in 2017, and then that's when they hired Herm Edwards, right? Graham admitted this past week it was a huge mistake to let Lanning go. He said in retrospect, he should have fired someone on his staff to open up some room and keep Lanning on the staff and give him a job. In fact, Graham speculated that had he done that, he himself would not have been fired in 2017. Maybe. We have some more broadcast news. The announcer team for the Michigan season opener against Fresno State on NBC will be Noah Eagle on play-by-play. Todd Blackledge will be the analyst, and Catherine Tappan will be the sideline reporter. And that group will do all the primetime games every Saturday night at NBC. Still no word on who Michigan's starting quarterback is going to be for that game. We're getting close. Got to decide pretty soon here, Sherrone Moore. And a little bit of good news for the Purdue Boilermakers. They've been banged up. They're starting to get some players back in this final week of camp so they can get ready for their season opening game against Indiana State. They got UCLA transfer wide receiver Cam Brown. He's back, although he is wearing a protective sleeve on his leg. He's been out since the first practice. Another wide receiver, Jaden Dixon. He's back after missing last week. CJ Smith suffered a hammy. He's expected to be out until week 3, which is really the second game. They got a bye week between week 1 and week 2, which is great because week 3, the second game of the season, Notre Dame. Got to get ready for the Notre Dame game. Bunch of injured receivers on this Buckeyes or this Boilermaker team. And with all this that's going on, true freshman Shamar Rigby he's taking advantage of this. With all the other guys out, he's getting all the reps of practice and he's showing off, and the coaches are noticing. Ryan Walter says Rigby's going to get a lot of playing time this season, so he's taking advantage of this. There's Colorado transfer and nickelback Kendrick Breedlove. He's back on the field in a limited capacity after missing last week. Looks like he's back just in time because starting corner and Georgia transfer Nyland Green, who we talked about last week, he's expected to miss the season opener. He's got a lingering foot injury. And starting left tackle Corey Stewart is still out and expected to be back. He's going to shoot for that Notre Dame game. New Mexico transfer DJ Wingfield has taken his place at practice. So the Boilermakers are really banged up. So hopefully they can get healthy just in time to get things started with the season. All right. Wednesdays, middle of the week, we always like to do some sort of power rankings. Once the season starts, we're going to power rank the teams and how we think they should be ranked. We do other fun stuff here in the offseason. Offseason is winding down. Michigan at the Big House, they're going to offer beer sales for the first time. It's hard to believe they haven't. Wisconsin is too. So I think Nebraska is the only team in the Big Ten that doesn't have regular beer sales throughout the entire stadium. I think you can get it, but in a designated area. Anyway, the prices vary quite a bit. It's going to be pricey in Ann Arbor. We're going to rank beer prices around the Big Ten in just 1 minute here on Locked On Big Ten. Ibotta can save you money. Ibotta. What is Ibotta? It's a free app, and it lets you earn cash back every time you shop. You can earn hundreds on just anything you buy. Groceries, beauty supplies, toys, necessities, fun stuff, whatever you buy. You're always spending money, right? We all are. Well, you use this app and it gets your money back on all just everyday typical things that you buy. The average Ibotta user earns $256 a year. That could cover the cost of your next shopping trip, right? So check it out. And you can save on over 2,400 brands, shop on over 1,000 retailers, and your favorite grocery stores, Lowe's, Macy's, Best Buy, all that. They take this. It's all good. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta by using the code LOCKEDONCollege when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play and download the free Ibotta app and start earning cash back. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege. Ibotta, that's spelled IBOTTA, in Google Play or the App Store, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege with Ibotta. All right, we are going to take a look at beer prices around the Big Ten. Everybody likes a good beer at a football game, and there used to be, I don't know, a stigma or something. They wouldn't sell beer at a college event, right? Kids, whatever. But that's going by the wayside because somebody figured out if you got 107,000 people there and a bunch of beer for a lot of money, that can add up. So Michigan is going to sell beer at the Big House this year. Camp Randall, Wisconsin's going to sell beer. Everybody but Nebraska's got beer all over the place. So we're going to put them up here. We're going to rank them by price. And if you're on audio only, we'll have them here on full screen. I'll describe what they are. So Michigan's going for the gusto right from day one. They're going to start selling beer, and they will have the most expensive beer in the Big Ten. And it will average, I think this is for a 16-ounce domestic beer at the stadium. They'll sell other kinds, but 16-ounce domestic beer at the stadium going to go for $12.25. Now, I don't know if that comes with a plastic souvenir cup or not. Or if they just give you the bottle, take the lid. I don't know how that's going to work. They'll figure it out. $12.25 for a beer in Michigan. UCLA is next. Everything's expensive in Los Angeles, $12. Minnesota and Rutgers going for $11 each. This is still pricey. And then USC, $10. Although, while their beer may be $2 cheaper than UCLA, I think the parking at USC is way more than at UCLA, way more than at the Rose Bowl. From my experience, anyway, living in Los Angeles for some time. Maryland and Penn State come in at $10. So is Michigan State, $10 for a beer. Purdue at $9 and Illinois at $9. Let's see how the rest stacks up. By the way, the NCAA average throughout the country is $8.34. So everything I've mentioned so far is above average. Here, everybody is below average. Washington and Ohio State, $8. Iowa and Wisconsin going to sell at $7. There you go, Wisconsin. I know they sell a lot of beer up there in Wisconsin. Get a good deal, $7. Indiana, $7. And look at Oregon. Autzen Stadium. You can get a beer for $5. Good job, Oregon. Way to keep it real. Again, Nebraska, and they don't sell it at all parts of their stadium. Like I said, I think they do sell some beer in like specific maybe alumni sections. I don't know. And then somebody will let me know in the comments. And then Northwestern, they sell beer. I just don't know what it's going to cost. And if it's any different from Ryan Field to their on-campus stadium now that they put up with just 50,000 bleachers. It's hard to get financial information on Northwestern sometimes because they're a private school. If you know, let me know. I'll be glad to let you guys know as well. So there you go. Beer prices from top to bottom around the Big Ten. It's a very important topic. A lot of fun. All right. So a couple of things here I want to remind you of. Always ways to interact with me on Twitter or X at Talk Big Ten, number 10, Talk Big Ten. You see it there on screen. You can hit us up at our website, talkbig10, number10.com. See all of our podcasts in order or group by school. Get your merchandise. And I have an email there if you want to reach out to me directly. And of course, your comments on YouTube are always great most of the time. And when you guys go back and forth, that's awesome as well. I'm sure we'll have a lot of fight on in there since we talked about USC today. I'm sure some people will rip on them too because there's rivalries. It's great. Nevertheless, be sure to subscribe. You click it. It's free. And also share it with a friend. Just click the little share arrow and send this to someone that you think might enjoy this. I know you know a lot of Big Ten fans out there. Subscribe, share, and follow this podcast right now on your favorite podcast app, and you'll get the latest episode of Locked On Big Ten as soon as it becomes available each and every day. Go back and catch up, watch a few more episodes right off the old website, and then for a second listen, enjoy our Locked On College Football podcast with Spencer McLaughlin, also part of the Locked On Network. He's there every day. Locked On College Football is available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Lots going on. We're creeping a day closer to the start of the season. We're all over it. So check in tomorrow. And again, bring a friend. Tell your friends about us as well. Appreciate the time today. Thank you. Never take that for granted either. But we'll talk to you tomorrow once again. I'm Craig Sheeman for Locked On Big Ten. See you then.